We had a wee bit of interruption there. Instagram won't let us be great. But we are back, and now I'm going to have Asia join us. So just give me one moment while I bring her in. Just give me one moment. I do not know what is going on. Just give me a sec. All right, so we're just gonna wait a moment. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna go ahead and encourage you to take the time after this. Don't leave me. Take the time to go follow the BSWC, find out what we're about, donate, buy some merch, rock that purple t-shirt. So all right, and Asia is here. So without further ado, hello.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good. Yourself?
I'm very well, thanks. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for
No
doing
problem.
this.
Thank you.
All right. So just for the folks at home,
hmm
Asia has agreed to come talk to us about her experiences as a sex worker, as a mom, as a sex working mom, and just navigating this crazy life that has gotten even crazier in 2020.
Right.
So, Asia, go ahead and tell us a little about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm Asia and I'm in my 30s. I am a single mom of two daughters and I have a crazy busy schedule. My vanilla job during the day and sex working at night. So it's definitely a different balance, but I love it. I love what I do either way.
Awesome, awesome. But tell me, like, two whole jobs.
hmm
I'm here trying to figure out like how to balance school and work, and you're here working two whole jobs.
Yes.
And being a mom, how do you find time for yourself?
Well, with my day job, I strategize since I'm like a 1099 contractor. How I strategize is towards the end of an old pay period, I can take a break for myself, take a day off or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Because with my day job, I go through FOMO if I were to take a day off right in the middle of the pay period, so I don't want to miss
Mm-hmm.
anything. So I do my best to have time for myself, whether it's my days off at the end of the pay period or mainly at night. When the calls are going slow or whatnot, that's when I just, kind of take a breather. So mostly in the evenings for the most part.
Okay. Okay. And with two small, how old are your kids?
My oldest is 8 and my youngest is 2.
Oh man,
Yeah,
you have your hands full.
I
Power
do.
to you, mom.
Thank you.
So like with your kids and balancing that, like, how do you go about, you know, sheltering them, or how do you have conversations with them at this point, about what mommy does for work? Well, I guess the 2-year-old would be a little young, but like I know that children are nosy, and I
hmm
know they find things, and I know they look for things that they definitely have no business looking at.
True.
So have you ever had like that situation with any of your children that you feel comfortable sharing?
I haven't yet. With my 8-year-old, I do plan to talk to her about what I do, maybe when she gets a little older, because right now I don't think she would
Yeah.
understand. My whole thing is let her be a kid, let her do her own thing.
Yeah.
Maybe when she gets older, I can really, talk to her about that. So we haven't had those conversations yet, but I do plan to have a conversation with her maybe when she gets older. So,
Okay. Yeah, dope. That's a yeah. Important conversations. And it's interesting because like a lot of parents are just so closed off from their kids when it comes to sex and discussing like
true.
eroticism and sexuality. Do you think that your job or like your exploration of your sexuality as a sex worker has impacted how you plan to approach sex with your kids?
Yes, yes, definitely. We've had the basic conversations as far as that with my oldest and of course my youngest, just the basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the deeper stuff I feel would have to come later. But
Yeah.
it does, it does broaden my horizons about it because not too long ago, I had a conversation with my 8-year-old about LGBTQ, non-binary, things of that nature, so that she can understand because our world is changing, and our children are being engulfed in it. So I feel that we have to at least educate them so they won't be ignorant to what's really going on right in front of them.
Mm-hmm. And educating children and raising children, like it takes a village. Tell
Yes,
me a
ma'am.
little more about your community support, like the people around you, and how they support you.
Very helpful. They know what I do. I mean, they support it. Some of them may not understand what I do, they may take it bad, but for me, it's like, this is my career. This is what I love. If you don't like it, oh well. But everybody is supportive for the most part because I'm not going around, hurting and harming people.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that is the ideal, that is the hope for that, I think most, if not all, sex workers hold that they can be accepted by their community and that they can be seen as not just their job,
Right.
because a lot of everybody else is kind of allowed to have a persona outside of their job that is
Right.
considered the real them,
Hmm.
and sex workers tend to be just seen in this one way, in this one frame.
Right.
So, speaking of your job, tell me, what are some of the biggest misconceptions? This is my own curiosity. What are some of the biggest misconceptions you've come across?
Um, People, since I'm a phone sex operator, people feel that I go out and meet the guys that I talk to, which is not true. You know, I'm not me when I speak to these men. I'm a whole different character. I'm I'm a whole different person. So the misconceptions are people think that I actually go out and do things with my clients. I don't do that personally. I keep
Mm-hmm.
it strictly business, you know, and I've had clients, ask me, "Hey, you want to meet?" And I tell them, "Hey, let's just meet, you know, on this platform. I'm here this day, this time. We can meet there, but definitely not outside of it." And some people feel that what I do is a form of prostitution. It's really not, but some people feel that way because, you know, I'm talking about sexual favors, sexual things, and I'm getting paid for it, but it's really not. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, so have you, how do you stay sane? Like, when work gets to you?
Um, I do take my breaks. Um, my mental health breaks as far as treating myself, spa days, days off, of course. You know, I try to regroup as far as looking up different kinks, different, different ways that I can improve of my job, so that way when I go back there, I could be fresh minded. So there's a lot that I do to, at least stay sane. I mean, I'm already, balancing motherhood, so me balancing my two jobs on top of this, on top of that, it's a lot, but um I try. I
Yeah,
try.
and you mentioned just now that you like do some research on your for your work. Like I think that that's something that a lot of people don't like think about,
Yes, ma'am.
but there's so much out there to know. There's so much to learn
There
about.
is. Yes.
Um, yeah, so I think like that's a really good point that you make. Like it takes work, like it takes
It
research, it
does.
takes preparation.
It does. Mentally too. It can really get to you mentally. You just have to figure out how to not let it get to you mentally.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the stress, the customers, dealing with management sometimes, dealing with money, just a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's another question I want to ask you. Like, how many jobs are you qualified for as a sex worker? Like, because sex workers wear so many hats.
Hmm.
So, I personally think like sex workers could do quite a few jobs across quite a few fields. But
Yes.
like, you tell me, like, how many jobs are you qualified for? As just handling the accounting and the administration and.
Um, I don't handle the accounting or administration part. All I'm responsible for is just taking the calls for the most
Mm-hmm.
part and just basically showing the customers a good time with my voice and my imagination. That's really the
Okay, so
only
you
job
work
that
for
I have.
an agency?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I mean, of course, some women go independent, but for me, the agency is an easier way for me right now. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
one day I will go independent, but I'm not ready for that, honestly.
I can imagine with them two kids.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I love hearing about your family and just like that dynamic that you have going on there.
Yes.
Um, can you tell me a little more about this year and how things have changed for you this year?
Hmm. Well, in general, I just barely got back to starting sex work probably about a month ago because I took a few months hiatus, because for this, I have to
Mm-hmm.
make sure this is good. But I still had sex work on my mind, still did my research, still looked at other companies and things of that nature. So I would honestly say that me getting back into sex work with a fresh mind is a plus for me. That eliminated all the burnout. Let's see. Work has become very busy, of course, since COVID. I mean, a lot of people are staying at home and doing their things from home, of course. So, that's the life right now. But I would say for the most part for work, it's became my for my main job, and my sex worker job, they've both became very busy, and it's good for me. I mean, it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot, but it's good for me. I have to, take advantage of that, of course.
Yeah, I
Yes.
I definitely get that. And like this is a question that a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their minds around, and
Hmm.
it's how sex work can be how like how sex work can be a positive thing, a source of empowerment,
Yes,
a source of
it is.
freedom. And I just wanted to like we've sort of touched on this before, and I just want you to go a little more into detail about like what sex work has afforded you or what it has enabled you to do.
Um, Definitely, sex work has afforded me, of course, to have my own place, to spend time with my girls, more time with my girls, as opposed to being, in the corporate environment. Um, I also know, my knowledge about sex has gotten a lot deeper with the kinks and the different I don't know, the different ways that, sex could be presented. Um, I've been in the sex work industry for a number of years now. So I've bought cars with my working as a sex worker before. It's afforded me basically the luxury to be free and to talk about whatever and to get paid by doing it. I mean, I really love it. I love what I
Mm-hmm.
do. I mean, I can't say this enough. I do love what I do. It's just the flexibility and the freedom, and I can still get my own place, get a car, do things, you know, um, as if I had a corporate job. Not to
Mm-hmm.
down corporate jobs, but to me, it's the same thing. But what I do incorporates a lot of freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely, and there's definitely this empowerment, especially as a
Yes.
woman and as a Black woman, in
Oh,
being
yes.
able to set your schedule and being able to set your boundaries, even more importantly,
Hmm.
and to know that, like, it's up to you, you know, when someone, like, you can take action on your own behalf when
That's
someone crosses your
correct.
boundaries.
That is correct. Um, Now, so you did touch on as a Black woman, and we are so underrepresented in the sex industry. We are, because with my sex work, I play a white woman. Yes. There's not a lot of men who say, "Hey, I want to talk to a Black woman," or "Is there any Black women available?" Like, unless it's like a whole fantasy thing for them, but not
Mm-hmm.
like not like a, let's say, what is that word I'm looking for? Companionship. It's not companionship at all when they ask
Mm-hmm.
for Black women. It's more like a kink or a fetish type of thing. So yes, I know we are so underrepresented in the sex industry. We really are. It's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate, but yeah.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, and a question that someone had asked, just as we touched on the topic of Black women, how, like, what do we need to see happen to tackle, or how do we begin to tackle the stigmatization? Like, it definitely shouldn't be our responsibility to do it as Black women, because we didn't create this structure that we exist under.
Right.
But
Hmm.
what is the first step, like, you know, in your view, as someone with experience in this industry?
We definitely need to step up on our own. We need to step up, and we need to, have our voices heard. That's what I feel the number one thing should be. Instead of just, being left out, we do need to step up and just really show the industry, what we're made of. We're not just some fetish or some kink. We can be, the little pretty helpless girl or something, or we could be, um, you know, we can be for companionship, those type of things, instead of, exploited and underrepresented.
Okay. All right. And so I want to talk a little bit more about how Black liberation and sex work ties in together. I just want to ask you,
Hmm.
like, for you as an individual and as a member of the Black community where you are, what does Black liberation look like for you?
That us Black people can think for ourselves and create our own voice, and just really put our foot down and say, we're tired of it, and let's do our own thing instead of depending on others to do it for us. We literally have to just, break the chains off and just go do our own thing. That's my personal opinion about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and my follow-up question is this: how does sex work contribute to that? Or how does sex work tie into that? How can, yeah.
Let's see. It's more of how I feel. It's more of how we're represented, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we're represented, and I just feel just for us to have a voice and for us to just really just push forward and just have a voice. I think sex work is like the same thing. We have to just, step forward and have our voice and just really be heard.
Yeah,
Hmm.
agreed. You know, I think about it, and I sex work is usually in one of the highest paying, quote unquote, unskilled jobs, and I won't even get started on what the term unskilled job is.
Hmm.
But you know, that's also a really important tool, and it's a tool available mostly to women, as very few are. Um, and so I think that by embracing because our sexuality has always been commodified, people
That
have
is
always been
correct.
trading in our sexuality. So
Hmm.
by embracing that commodification and turning it against the system, like capitalism has already turned us into a commodity that is being exploited for free.
Right.
If we can set the terms of, if we can, come to the table and negotiate and set the terms under the system while we fight to dismantle it, then, you know, that's a step as well, like in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanna come back to COVID. Like, do you have any like a finger on the pulse of like what's going on in the sex work industry in the US in COVID? Like, can you give a little insight on that? Maybe other sex workers that you know, and what the situation is like on the ground.
Um, I haven't done much, as far as research, but I've came across one sex worker. She's very popular. She said that since COVID, she's made a whole bunch of money. People are staying home, they have nothing else to do, type of thing. But anything else after that, I haven't really
Mm.
honestly seen anything yet.
Okay. Yeah. And so I'm I've asked all my questions, and so I just wanted to open the floor up to you. Like,
Thank
what's
you.
important to you? Like, what's your message that you want to get out there?
Don't be ashamed if you want to be a sex worker. I mean, you know, it's just a really positive form of empowerment. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, you're this or that. Don't listen to them. I mean, if it's something that you want to do, I mean, definitely go for it, but be safe, be smart, just know what you're doing, honestly.
Okay, and on the topic of being safe, I know in the US, being safe often usually means avoiding the police.
Hmm.
Um, so tell me, like, well, I guess as a phone sex operator, you're not too much on the front lines, but I imagine
Right.
that the legal framework, like SESTA, FOSTA, do have some kind of effect on your work. Can you tell me a little about that?
Um,
Or
it
did
it
it? Did it?
no, it actually doesn't. It doesn't. No, it doesn't. But I've read up on it, and I just feel so bad for the other sex workers who, honestly have to go out there and do what they have to do, or whatever the case is. I feel bad for them because that's their income, that's their livelihood. It's just a part of them and what they do. I just wish the law hadn't taken place, but I mean, they say that they're trying to protect people, but in a way, I mean, not in a way, I'm sorry, but mostly it's destroying other sex workers. But it hasn't impacted what I do because I do it over the phone.
Mm.
But I do
Okay.
feel bad for the others, though.
Yeah, definitely. And for those who don't know, Sesta Foster, the Stop Exploitation and Sex
Yeah,
Trafficking Act,
something
and
like that.
the I won't even I it's Sesta Foster, guys.
Right.
Like Sesta Foster, go look it up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a law in the it's a set of laws in the U.S. that are aimed at curtailing online sex work and sex trafficking. They say, and basically it restricts what it makes websites liable for what people post. And yes, fight on. Thank you, Dead Flexi. Thank you, Jay. Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act,
Right.
FOSTA. Um, so it makes these websites liable for what people post, including advertisements, and so it basically restricts where people can post and anything that is and under the guise of fighting sex trafficking, they're targeting uh, sex workers who
Correct.
are, and I mean, there is no involuntary sex worker. There's a trafficked person, there's a sex worker. It's two very different things.
It is.
And the laws do not make this distinction.
Mm-mm.
And therein lies the problem. They target sex workers. There have been arrests made. Sex workers are now shut out from a lot of advertising platforms, and it's just made it a lot less safe for sex workers to just be and to do their work. So
Correct.
yeah, I'm really glad that Sesta Foster didn't have an effect on you. I've heard also of like I've heard also of different rumors around like extending laws that are being added to the same aim of curtailing trafficking. So I
Mm-hmm.
try to keep abreast of that. Um, so I think that our time is wrapping up now. We've been here for a while.
Thank
And,
you.
thank you so much for talking to us, guys.
No
Go
problem.
ahead
Thank
and
you.
support, follow the BSWC, follow the Pops Cherry Project. And do you want some followers, Asia?
Sure. I mean,
And go
I don't
follow Asia too, guys. Go follow Asia too.
want.
There's
That's fine.
followers for everybody. All right, Asia, thank you so much for speaking
Thank
with
you.
us. Bye.
Bye. Thank y'all.
All right, guys. So that was Asia. And if you thought that was good, wait till you see what I have next, which is at 2 p.m. on the East Coast. We will have Jay, aka Dead Flexi, who is going to come talk to us a little more about advocacy and allyship and have a little more fun with this topic that is so near and dear to our hearts. So again, if you have any questions, go ahead and send them in. You already got the first taste. If something's flowing in your mind now, if something pops up, don't hesitate to send in your questions. All right, see you soon. Bye.